Database schema. In this video, we are going to understand what is a database schema and why do we need to keep in mind before creating a database. Before moving to the database schema, let us understand what is a schema. Schema is a diagrammatic representation of an object. Consider we want to build a house. To build it, we have to first draw the diagrams of the house. Then we construct it using concrete and brick rods. The diagram of our house is the logical schema, and the physical schema can be called as the actual house that we built using concretes and other materials. When it comes to choosing our database, one of the things you have to keep in your mind is the shape of the data and how the relationships are formed between them. In order to achieve this, we have to use database schema that tells how we are going to structure our data and what is the relationship between this data. A database schema is a blueprint or an architecture of how your data will look like. Database schema will include all important relevant data that is necessary for you to construct a database. Consistent formatting for all data entries. That is, all the data will be formatted to particular data types. You can't assign a string type to phone number because phone number is a number type. Unique keys for all entries and data objects. There are different kinds of keys which we will be studying in future. These keys helps in applying different constraints to our table. Each column in a table has a name and a data type. This helps in maintaining the atomicity of our table. Database schema doesn't hold the data by itself, but instead it describes how the shape of the data and how it might relate to other data models. Database schema types. There are two main types of database schema, logical and physical. This is a diagram which represents how logical schema can be converted to physical schema in order to obtain the actual output of our tables. Logical schema. A logical database schema represents how our data is going to be organized in the tables. It explains how the attributes are linked among itself and to other tables. The schema diagram below is an example of ER model. To create a logical database schema, we use entity relationship model. This is a model which will help us to visualize our tables. It will help us to understand how our table will look like. It will help the new users or non-developers to understand how the data will be organized. It specifies the relationship between entity types. So this entity relationship model is capable of defining all type of relationships and all type of attributes and entity that will later on help to build the actual tables. Here, this is a diagram of an ER model of a basic e-commerce application. This view represents the list of products, the transactions made by the customer, and the details of the customer. This small diagram was so easy that it can be explained to anyone. There is no need for them to know about database. They can understand the database and the table by just looking at this model. That's why entity relationship model is so important in database. Physical schema. Physical database schema represents how your data is stored on disk storage. In other words, we can say that it is the actual code that will be used in order to create the structure of the database. We can see that physical schema will tell that how our data will be stored in the disks. Say for example, we have a data of 10 kilobytes. So the physical schema will tell that where this 10 kilobytes of data will be stored and what will be its memory location and how it can be accessed later on when we require it. To study more about database, do follow our channel and press the bell icon to stay updated with the next updates. Thank you.